getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning from wherever you're watching from. Welcome to Slow Motion Broadcasting for round number 3 of Season 10 of XSLR. I'm Adam Thomsen, and with me this week is Josh Wilkie, who's also the man behind the cameras. And tonight, we race around the last known Coliseum in North America, Bristol Motor Speedway. This half-mile oval is a little bit of an egg shape and can provide some great racing action. Fenders and tempers is what they say around Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll go ahead and bring in Josh Wilkie here, who has been able to race a little bit this season in this car. And Josh, you were in the lead last week and you took yourself out of the lead because you ran out of gas.
Yeah, that was jumped a bit early on that one. You know, it's a little embarrassing. I don't know too much about this this style of racing yet, and I actually leapt a bit early there. I was kind of saving it up in the bank. I was looking at my timer. The timer was running out. I'm like, hey, we got about a minute left. I got just enough fuel, and I hammered it. And then I'm like, wait a minute, this is laps, not time. And unfortunately, that was my went a little early there, unfortunately, but I learned a lesson, and I got out there and I did pretty well. You know, I tried to stay off everybody. I tried to stay clean, and and it worked out. So it was pretty fun. Really looking forward to Bristol tonight, though. Very different type of track tonight. Perhaps you can kind of fill us in on exactly what the differences are and kind of what they're going to be dealing with out there tonight.
Yeah, so the Bristol Motor Speedway turns 1 and 2 is a little bit narrower than 3 and 4. 3 and 4 you can definitely run through, and there's actually a really good look at the racetrack. We're looking from turns 3 and 4. You can see how much wider turns 3 and 4 really are and how much of a radius you have to take. In turns 1 and 2, it's a much tighter radius, and so really with this kind of racetrack, you kind of have to be thinking, where am I at? In this kind of racetrack, you're going really, really fast, and it's easy to get lost in where you're at. And of course, these guys are putting in 15-second lap times. And yeah, it's just one of those racetracks. It's what they call progressive banking. And what that means, the higher up you go, the more banked this racetrack gets. So you want to be more at the bottom of the racetrack if you want to save your tires, which is kind of crazy to sound considering last week at Las Vegas, we didn't want to run the bottom. You wanted to be more kind of up the racetrack a little bit, save those tires. As we are on board here with Chad Gross as we're wrapping up practice here before heading into qualifying. Last week's race winner, Jay Cam, currently the fastest driver out there with a 14.8. So that is kind of a look at our practice, but on board here, you can just see. So we're going through turns 1 and 2, a little bit narrower. Now you're coming down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. And now this is where it widens out a little bit. Now this track has seen multiple different configurations, of course, back in 2021, 2022, and 2020. We put dirt on this racetrack. And of course, the World of Outlaws NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Tour did a race here along with the late models, and with some fantastic racing. We actually saw a world record lap time in a 410 wing sprint car around Bristol Motor Speedway when there was dirt. So I love this racetrack. This is one of my favorite racetracks here at the last great Coliseum. And we are going to get ready here. 30 seconds until practice is all said and done. It should be an interesting race. Tire saving is going to be something to remember. What are we looking at for fuel? Were you still last week? The rules got a little
I forgot to
messed up.
mention that, actually. That was another thing I should mention was, that might not have been totally my fault either, because apparently there was a bit of a fuel schmozzle there. In the settings, and I don't think we were actually supposed to run out of fuel, so I think some people out there were aware of it and they were fuel saving, and I was just flat out the whole first stint there until I went in. Probably should have been fuel saving a bit. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one. Vegas might be a bit of a different one for me, just because I have a little bit of experience around there, whereas I have almost no experience anywhere else. But looks like practice is over. Looks like qualifying will be starting up here momentarily, and yeah, I think it's going to be a little difficult here if it's an open qualifying to get a free lap, but we'll see how they can work that out.
Yes, so, and it's not open qualifying, it's single closed qualifying. So,
that makes more sense.
Here we go. Several drivers getting ready to go out here. Kevin Irwin, Derek Folk, and Cossack, Dylan Bose, Jason Grider, Brad Cathcart, Joshua Sushi, all headed out to the racetrack here. And there's Kevin Irwin. And then on the screen now, that's Dylan Bose getting finished on the podium last week here. And here we go here. He's going to start his first lap, and we'll ride on board. You can see how much action he's going to have to put in that steering wheel. Dylan Bose goes second quick with Andy Cossack going quick time with a 15.046. And Dylan Bose trying to get a little bit faster. As Brad Cathcart goes third fastest with a 15.5. Definitely some room to improve there. Dylan Bose goes quick time with a 14.928. And Derek Folk now third fastest with a 15.4. Tyler Brown goes fourth fastest with a 15.421. Kevin Irwin sixth fastest, a 15.715. Joshua Sushi 15.728. He lands now in the ninth spot, as now Andy Cossack now bumps himself back into second. Tyler Brown going up into the third spot with a 15.241. Chad Gross trying to improve on his lap time here. And he improves by just a spot for 15.322, and then jumps right back down to Matt Lass going with a 15.2. Now let's head to our race winner last week, Jake Ham. Jake Ham on the racetrack here. He will be putting up his first lap here in just a moment. And he goes to the high side of the track, the diamonds off the corner, down the racetrack, and he crosses the line, and he goes 11th fastest at 15.901. Definitely some time to improve, and this time he won't be going to that top side of the racetrack. He goes down almost to that yellow line. That's really the primary spot you want to run, is all the way down to that yellow line. Crosses the line here, and he goes quick time with a 14.828, and he will start on the pole. Everyone else cannot improve at this point. He was the last man out in qualifying. Chad Gross goes 6th fastest. Here's Kevin Irwin here. He's just putting up some additional laps here. Just trying to get used to this racetrack here. And this is the kind of racetrack that these walls are deadly. Yes, there will be bumping and banging. You don't want to be on that outside line. That outside line can be deadly. On restarts, it's great. On restarts, on just racing side by side with somebody, not so great. So that is something to keep an eye out for, as qualifying should be done, as nobody else is here. We have 12 drivers for tonight. Jake Ham is going to be your pole sitter with a lap time of 14.828. What a lap there, Josh.
Yeah, that was pretty quick and frenetic qualifying there. I've never really seen one run quite so quickly. 15-second laps, 14-second laps. I can imagine how many laps we're going to click off here tonight. But yeah, Jake Ham putting in another amazing showing there. Not pretty much kind of the same usual suspects up front there. A few people a little bit out of place tonight, and I'm going to imagine that's because just because this track is a little different than a lot of them. It looks like a very different challenge out there to keep it together for this whole race here, but really looking forward to it. I'm hoping we don't have too many yellows. We can keep it nice and clean. Kevin Irwin out here just trying to get a few more practice laps in, I think, here with the time that is left on the board here. Only car on the track at the moment, but yeah, really looking forward to this race at Bristol. You know, as I looked at the schedule this season, this was one that I was actually kind of hoping I was going to be able to be in, just because I have no experience around a track like this at all. And anytime I've tried it, it just felt so alien to me, Adam.
Yeah, it's one of those racetracks, of course, that you have to keep your head on a swivel. And like what we saw in the NASCAR Cup race just a couple of weeks ago, you know, those guys were going through tires like crazy. It was one of the more crazier races that you see at Bristol. The tires were wearing like crazy and everything. And the spotters, I mean, they just couldn't take a break to breathe, it seemed like. They were just chatting like crazy, letting their drivers know what was happening. And that's the kind of style of racing that you get at Bristol, as Kevin Irwin gives us a perfect example of what can happen here at Bristol. If you get just a little hint of understeer, you're going to go up that racetrack and you're going to smack that wall, especially on older tires. And these tires, they wear off fairly quickly here. So Kevin Irwin's doing the Lord's work here and giving us some good examples of what not to do here at Bristol as we wrap up qualifying. So here we go. Let's take a look at the lineup here as soon as that is ready. And the lineup looks like this. Your front row on the pole position, the 85 of Jake Ham and the 19 of Dylan Vos. Row 2, Andy Kosick starting on the inside with Matt Lass sitting on his outside. Row 3, Tyler Brown of the 821 and the 28 of Chad Gross with Joshua Sushi and Derek Folk making up row number 4. Row 5, Brad Cathcart in the 905 and Jason Grider in the 552. And our final starters here, Kevin Irwin in the number 7 and the 021 of Charles Bushell, a.k.a. Slow Trickle. And that's your 12 drivers here tonight, getting gridded up here for ARCA Menards Series action around Bristol Motor Speedway in the brand stinking new ARCA cars that came to the iRacing service just last season. So, of course, guys are still getting quite used to it. Oh, and there's a beautiful shot of the 19 car there of Dylan Vos as we get ready to go. All the cars are gridded up. The pace car will be off. Thank you to Whiplash Cams for those cameras that we are using here tonight. Yeah, great cameras that we get from them. As always, pace truck is pulled away here. 2 pace laps here at Bristol Motor Speedway, just due to the fact that it is a short track. Anything half mile or under gets 2 laps, and that is in the dirt ranks and the oval ranks as well. So we're getting ready here for 165 laps, which might seem like a lot of laps, but I promise you it will go fairly quickly with how fast these guys are going. 15 seconds lap. We should be seeing lap times actually drop off as well about halfway through. Of course, pit stops will come into play. If a green flag pit stop comes, obviously we'll see drivers come up at turn number 4, go down that pit lane. No need for the backstretch pit boxes tonight, so that will be a good sign as well. So we're getting ready here. That pace truck will pull off out of turn number 4 with Jake Ham and Dylan Vos, your race leaders here. Jake Ham trying to go back-to-back championships this year, won season 9, and he was an expert on the ovals, so we will see what he has in store for us tonight. There's that progressive banking, a great shot of that. And here we go. Pace truck will be pulling off here, and we're ready to go racing. Green flag will fly, and away we go for 165 laps around Bristol Motor Speedway. Jake Ham takes the immediate race lead, and going with him is Dylan Vos as they go down through the back straightaway. Dylan Vos trying to hold on to the 85 of Jake Ham, but can't get down to the bottom of the racetrack to keep up the pace. A couple guys side by side further back as well as we complete the opening lap here. Lap 2, Jake Ham still your race leader with Dylan Vos right behind him. Further back, it's going to be Andy Kosick, Tyler Brown having to defend off the number 98 of Matt Laz as we get a bumper shot of this one with Derek Volk there. Derek Volk watching this battle take place, and now he looks behind him, sees his teammate of Chad Gross in the Zoot Lord Racing number 28. And now side by side further forward, that was Tyler Brown getting around Andy Kosick for the 3rd spot here as we are getting things underway here. Jake Ham running really a kind of controlled pace right now. 15.1 that last lap. Picks it up a little bit here as Tyler Brown goes quickest with a 14.956. But everybody currently so far running pretty much a single file line here, and Dylan Vos trying to use that top side as much as he can because he knows later on that's where the marbles go, and that's when it gets really dirty up there and really difficult to drive.
Yeah, it does look like we're getting a bit of line difference here between a few of them. Look at Jake Ham kind of holding that bottom line there, where it looks as number 19 kind of taking that top side line there, assuming that's going to be a little bit less on the tires there, at least for the beginning of the race. It looks like 821 there, getting up underneath him, a bit of contact, almost put him in the wall, but was able to keep going there. Close one. So
Tyler Brown makes the move for second, and no, really the top side of the racetrack at Bristol Motor Speedway is actually where you not want to run if you want to preserve your tires. Because of the way the nature of progressive banking works, especially in a short track like this, it's a very high banking. And so when you're running that top side, what ends up happening, you're putting all the load on those right side tires, and those will tend to go first. Now, you want to be running the bottom here like Jake Ham is doing. You just want to back up the corner a little bit if you want to save the tire. And you don't want to be running a race as Derek Volk having to defend from the 98 of Matt Last. Matt Last almost put a bumper to him, but had to back out of it. So what we're going to probably see Jake Ham do is that he's going to back up the corner as this run goes on, just to get as much life out of these tires as he possibly can. But Tyler Brown is not messing about, and Jake Ham knows, hey, I'm gonna wait for him to burn up his stuff here. As now Tyler Brown is now your race leader. There goes Dylan Vos. He goes to the race lead. So yeah, Jake Ham right now, he gets up to that top side, which again, you don't want to necessarily be doing too often, because that's where the dirty side of the racetrack is going to be. That's where those marbles are going to run. He finally is getting back down to the bottom, but he's backing up the corner. He's not running a super high pace here, because on Bristol Motor Speedway, if you're running fast lap times compared to the rest of the field, everybody knows that you're just going to ruin your tires very, very quickly. And it doesn't take very long. It takes about 30 to 40 laps before you start really noticing that tire wear, and then it just gets progressively worse throughout the green flag run.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, I think. There you can see now they're definitely starting to hug that bottom line and not try to drift up the track quite so much. 19 still running pretty high up the line there. I would imagine once your front tires start to go on a track like this, it just becomes very difficult. Last taking the low line here on the 98. Kind of let him by there by the looks of it. Maybe some understeer happening there, but yeah, definitely a lot more strategy out there than you would think going into these. I'm a road racing guy, and I can tell you, man, my heart rate was up that whole race last time. It was very intense out there.
Well, one of the things that we'll talk about throughout this race, of course, not only is tire wear, but also fuel strategy. The fuel limit, of course, is 80%. Again, just like last week, if I remember correctly. So these guys are going to also need to save fuel. So right now, what J Cam is doing, I mean, this is what I expected from J Cam coming into tonight. He wasn't, he was going to get the pole, start up front, and just run a controlled race. And that's what he's doing right now. He's going to want to run this controlled race if he wants to get back out in front, as we are now on lap number 20. And you are right, Josh. Once these front tires go, it is so difficult then to drive really consistent lap times, because then it just gets progressively worse. Once you experience that for the first time, the first lap, you are in for a ride at that point. You are just trying to get to your pit stop at that point to get a brand new set of tires to get yourself to the end. And as somebody who's ran the Bristol night race and the Bristol 500 and the Food City 500, the Bristol 500 several times on the iRacing service, I can tell you, once those fronts go, you are in a world of pain. And they yell, scream, kick, complain, yell, everything. they need to go to anger management by the time you get into the into your pit stop window and get a new set of rubber on those cars. So
that, for sure, horrible feeling. I think one of the worst feelings is losing your tires in the front, and just understeer's gotta be one of the worst feelings. Like you were saying there too, kind of once you take a bite out of it, it is sort of like, I've used the analogy, it's like biting your own cheek or something, and then it swells up and you just continue to bite it and it gets worse. And it's kind of what happens to your tires out there as well. You just chew them up. You put a big flat spot on them, or you heat them up a little too much, then it just becomes lap after lap of trying to get them back. Sometimes I can't imagine on an oval where you're just punishing them so hard. I've had very little oval experience, but I have definitely experienced blowing my front tires off and just drifting towards that upper wall, and it's just a horrible feeling.
And there's nothing you can do. You have to slow down, and then and now you're, instead of 0.3 off the pace, now you're a second, and then it gets, from a second, then it goes to 1.3 seconds, and 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds, and now you're just stuck in the situation you're giving. As we have already started to lap some cars here, Kevin Irwin, Charles Bochelle, and Joshua Sushi, all going a lap down here so far at Bristol, as Tyler Brown just putting in lap times here. You can see now where those lap times are starting to fall. He put up the fastest lap time with a 14.87, and now he is down to a 15.4, and that's just tire wear. That's how the Bristol tire wear works around this racetrack, and you now have to just maintain it. And I think he's going to be feeling it here in about 15 laps, where those tires are really going to start to give way, and he's going to start feeling a little understeer, and he's going to have to back up the corner a little bit and slow way down. As J Cam right now, he's running 15.6, and he's been around that 15.3, 15.4 range for quite a while now. So he is, managing his tires, which is one of his strong suits. I would say about J Cam is his fuel saving and his tire save for himself, and that's why he always gets back out on front, because he knows how to manage these types of races and how to run these types of racetracks. And that's why we saw him last season in season 9 dominate with the 87 NASCAR Cup car series. And right now, he did not win the first race of the season, just like last year. He didn't win the first dirt oval race, and then was very dominant after that, as we are again seeing lap traffic become a factor. Dylan Post was able to get by Tyler Brown for the race lead. That was very close. as Tyler Brown was trying to diamond off the corner, and now Vos goes up to the high side of the racetrack, allowing Tyler Brown to take the bottom with some clean air on the front bumper. And right now, Tyler Brown not making up any ground, but he's able to continue to still hug that bottom line of the racetrack. And let's take a look at the replay here and what has happened here. They went 3 wide with Kevin Irwin on the top side, and they're just going side by side. And finally, Dylan Vos was able to get around Tyler Brown and is now sort of picking up the pace, but you can see now some of the different colors happening up at the top of the racetrack. That's the tire marbles starting to be a little bit of a factor. And once you hit those tire marbles, it's not very fun at that point. They make the flip side, and it's not enjoyable. As we saw a couple weeks ago in the NASCAR Cup car, where the tire was literally disintegrating. It was very dirty up there. Within about 30 laps, it was pretty much unrunnable. You could not run the top side of the racetrack if you wanted to. And for all you dirt track fans out there, I would say right now, you see where Kevin Irwin is. He was a cheese car. Now you see where Jason Greider is running in front here of the 98 machine of Matt Lass. He's running more topside, but for you dirt track fans up there, this racetrack races like a dirt track. There is multiple lines you can run. It's just a matter of where that grip is, and it's going to change a little bit, but generally the bottom of the racetrack, and this is mainly like for sprint cars and stuff, not really your street stocks or your late models, because you can really run those kind of anywhere. Sprint cars around a racetrack like this, you're going to generally see them go down to the bottom side, maybe run a few laps up top, but generally down towards the bottom or the middle of the racetrack. And that's what we're kind of seeing at this point here on lap number 43. So you can just see everybody just really, there's Tyler Brown. He runs the middle and then he diamonds it off and then heads down towards the bottom, drives down what we would say drives down the hill, and picks up just that little bit of speed. That's all it's really doing. It's just meant to get you some additional, miles per hour. Can help a little bit on the lap time factor, but you can see now Tyler Brown, those tires on corner entry or corner exit are not his friend right now out of turn 3 and 4.
So you're getting it from both ends at this stage. I would imagine as you're going to get up the inside there from J Cam, you're losing your fronts on entry, you're trying to wiggle the gas pedal down on exit, and it's honestly really a lot of fun. These new ARCA cars are quite a bit of fun out there. I really enjoyed it anyway. It was pretty interesting here to see that top line. It looks like you can just touch that top line, you get sucked into the wall at this point. There is a nice black line of marbles out there that does not look like you would want to touch it at all. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but it does look like the line's starting to sort of kind of middle a bit now. And that's, I would imagine, to just try to save some tire.
Yep. Right now, it's just you're trying to save a little bit of tire, maybe save some fuel. The tires as well are starting to fall away, so you're going to see some guys kind of just move up the track naturally, and especially if they're, let's say, in clean air, you don't want to run the bottom clear to the exit. You're going to want to just drift up, let the car naturally do what it wants to do, because if you try and force this car to do something, that's when it bites you. These cars do not like it when you try to tell them what to do for too long. So, and that's in any sort of stock car, dirt car, like a late model, a street stock. You eventually just have to let it do what it wants to do, and it's going to work out for you. Just let the car drift off the racetrack. If not, as we're seeing with Derek Fulk here, he's backing up the corner a little bit along with Chad Gross. They're not going into that corner pell-mell. So that's just something to keep an eye on, is how far do these guys get off the throttle before entering the corner. Now on that top side, obviously you can get off the throttle a lot earlier, as we'll ride with Dylan Bose here for a little bit. He pretty much right on entry, he's releasing it, but gets a little bit nervy on corner exit. And that's just really the nature of turns 1 and 2, is that you can't run it the same way as you can in 3 and 4. So you have to just be careful. As now we see Charles Bochelle, he's in the pit He's on pit exit right now, and he is coming out, and he is ready to run again. So this will be very interesting. Now, he is now officially 2 laps down to the race leader here, but he has some fresh rubber, so we'll have to see what the tire life is going to be like now and what the speed difference will be, as now Joshua Shushi, he comes into the pit to get a new set of boots and put on some fresh rubber, get out there, full tank of gas, and away he will go, as now Kevin Irwin will jump into the pits here, the cheese car. So all the guys who are laps down are coming into the pits, and and that tells me those guys burned up their stuff and they're not quite used to running on like really used up tires. And so maybe that's a signal to the rest of the field. I would say about lap 83 is when you would actually see guys come into the pits, and we'll probably see Dylan Vos and Jake Cam pit. And once you go a couple laps down on a racetrack like this, it is very, very difficult to get it back unless you get a couple of cautions. So as now Jake Cam, he's trying to track down Dylan Vos. If we could get the intervals pulled up here on our graphic. And right now, well, there's the pit stop time. So now Tyler Brown is on pit exit, 8.2 seconds. So that tells me he put on right side tires. Did not take a full set of tires and maybe a little bit of fuel, but there's the intervals on the screen now with Jake Cam. Now he's tracking down the race leader of Dylan Vos, and that tells me that Jake Cam's got enough tire life right now that he can actually pass for the race lead before he has to go into the pit.
Yeah, it does look like definitely jumping early on those tires, and that would probably be me out there, I think, not really knowing quite how. I'd probably have been in earlier than that, not really quite knowing. We're seeing some pretty good side-by-side racing here between these two with some old tires on them as well here. Definitely don't want to slip up the track into the 19 at this stage. Lots of lap traffic out there too. Something I didn't think about is, this place is tight enough as it is and a bit of a mind bender as it is, let alone having to deal with slower traffic and stuff too, and worry about your competitor here as we're coming up on the 50. Looks like we might actually split the uprights here. Nope, not quite going to do it there, but he's going to make it by fairly clean. Charles Bochelle might slip by there as well. But yeah, back to the tires. It's got to be difficult out there to just know when to go in and when not to. And I think I'd have probably burned my tires off by now, personally.
And it's very easy to do because it is such a short track. You're going, oh, I want to go. I want to make up positions and get towards the front end of the field, but you do that and you risk blowing off the tires. As now Matt Lass is into the pits and he is off the jets, and away he goes back out to the racetrack here very, very quickly. And his pit stop time of 15.6 second lap times, or pit stop time. So these guys are starting to really come together here. But again, if you're Jake Cam right now, you got enough to last you a while here as he is getting by more lap traffic. He's kind of the only one out there. He's Kyle Larsoning this right now. Kyle Larson, famous for in the spring NASCAR race, led 490 laps of the 500 that they ran here in NASCAR Cup Series in the spring. So, and you can see, oh yeah, he's got plenty of tire life. He's thrown in the car
up the inside anywhere on him there. I think he got a little frustrated perhaps with Brad Cathcart there, not kind of giving him the way there and holding him up a little bit. He decided to just stuff it up the inside, and it worked out for him. So looks like maybe next year we're gonna have Dylan Vos having to deal with Brad Cathcart as well here. He'll get out of the way. Not easy to do on this track, though, I must say. Even as lap traffic there, you're just trying to hold your line. You're trying not to mess anybody up, and it can be difficult for sure, even as a lapper.
Tyler Brown has a penalty. You can see that on your screen. You see that black flag on the screen. That's that little black box at the end of the graphic. And he is going to sit there for a while.
Exit, maybe. It must be a pit entry or a pit exit. He was in the pit before this, so let's have a quick look here at his pit entry from earlier. This should be his entry. We're looking pretty under control here. Yeah, I don't think it was on entry. So let's have a quick look at perhaps his exit, and maybe he unfortunately just crossed that line on the way out. This should be his exit here now. And I think we're probably going to see perhaps... So definitely not on speed. Oh, and we're going to get obscured here.
Oh, he went... No, it was definitely had to be speed.
Had to be speed? Okay. Yep.
Yeah, definitely had to be speed. I think he was a little bit fast on the pit exit there. So he is now down 2-3 laps. If I'm looking at our board correctly here. Oh, that's unfortunate for Tyler Brown.
Very unfortunate. Yep, unfortunate. He's going to pick up that penalty. I believe you're probably right for speeding. I didn't see any. Certainly wasn't on entry. I don't think it was on entry, but it looks like he probably picked up a flag in the pit there, and that's just always a real bummer. You know, you practice all week, sometimes race, and forget to do the pit practice. Not saying that's what happened there, but I know it's happened to me before too. I've thrown away more than a couple races in the pits.
It's like my Daytona 5, my first attempt at Daytona this year. Was running really well, was leading, and then it was pit cycle time and sped into pits. So, yeah, that's such a bad feeling too. Knowing that you know, I was running very well and definitely was in contention to win it, and just messed it up on a green flag pit stop, not even a caution. It was just, and worst part is there wasn't a single caution after that, which just made things worse. So Dylan Bose right now 2.5 seconds, over 2.5 seconds down to J-Cam, and I guarantee you we're going to see our race leaders come into the pits here, which means some guys will get a lap back. Question is, how many do they get, and what, you know, how quickly can they get those, as Derek Polk is now into the pit lane as well here at the halfway point of this one on lap 82 of 165. And we'll be curious. Let's keep our eyes on J-Cam here. I'm curious on when he is actually going to pit, if he's going to try and go a few additional laps, just because, you know, when you're tire saving on a racetrack like this, you're also fuel saving. So you're going to get those extra laps of fuel and can really run fairly long in a full green flag stint. And surprisingly, so far, no one has brought out the caution.
Derek Folk in the pit here for nearing 40 seconds now, so I'm not sure if he checked a tire, got some damage, or perhaps calling it. But yep, that's gonna put him out of contention pretty much there, as he just drops behind Charles Pochel now, down a few laps.
Yeah, something has gone awry for Derek Polk, who actually had a very good run last week, and now here he comes out of the pits, and he will go rather quickly and get on out there and just pray that there's a caution at some point. And right now, pretty much the entire, very clean. Right now, there's only 2 cars on the lead lap. That is J-Cam and Dylan Bose. Brad Cathcart is the first car a lap down. And so if a caution comes out, he would be the lucky dog. But he will get that lap back as soon as we see.
That's one you have to explain to me. So, sorry to interrupt you. Yes. What exactly is the lucky dog?
So the lucky dog. Really. So the way that the rule works is that the first car a lap down, if a caution was to come out, they would get a waiver round to get their lap back. And basically, it just goes through the field. So if there's a guy who's, you know, the first car lap down is actually 2 laps down, they would get their lap, a lap back. It's just to get cars back together, get more cars back on the lead lap, and not make that lap down so punishing, especially when a caution comes out. If you get a caution, let's get another car back on the lead lap. It takes, it doesn't take any time at all. The only thing is that if you are the lucky dog, you then line up at the end of the longest line. So you don't even get to move past the cars who are a lap down in front of you. You just have to line up. You just do your wave around, get that lap back, and then you go to the back of the pack, and then now you have to battle against those cars that are a lap down. So
Interesting.
it's just kind of like how Formula One works, you know, when the safety car comes out, all the car except they do all the cars that are a lap down, they will get their lap
time. Yeah, right. They do a wave around. Everybody that's down a lap gets to go around. Not something you see often, and of course the controversy from many years ago with Max Verstappen's title and everything there, they decided to just sort of change it a little bit, which honestly would be controversial here, so we can flare that up again, but honestly it gave us a good race, and I'm not really too worried about it. But I do like the idea of being able to get somebody just back into the fray like that. That's a great idea. It's something I really like, a lot, and calling it the lucky dog just makes it even cooler.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that it adds an element to the racing in NASCAR and in stock car racing. You hear there's, let's keep an eye on the battle for the lucky dog spot, because sometimes, most of the time, you'll see two guys who are just trying to be in that spot.
Oh yeah, okay. So you got a whole little little sub race going on almost.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So those, you get guys who are lapped down and they're trying to compete just to get back onto the lead lap, even though they're not going to get it for until a stage caution or a caution comes out. They just want to be in a position then to help get themselves back on a lead lap situation. And then, of course, there's rules in NASCAR that if there is a lap car in front of cars on the lead lap, they'll get a waiver out, just like how it works in IndyCar. So, and right now, Jake Ham is going way longer than I thought he was going to go. I thought he was going to
fuel out there. Is fuel magic or something going on here? Maybe a little more fuel in his guy. Who knows? I believe it was last weekend. I think somebody told me it was supposed to be 85, and there's somebody go out. Oh, we have Chad Gross.
Meatball. He's got a meatball flag. And his day is done.
That is not looking good.
That car is destroyed. Let's see what has happened here to Chad Gross, and I can only assume what has happened here because I have probably done the same thing. Oh, he's coming down to the pits, and
the attenuator. No.
Oh, right into the barrels.
Oh, yeah, not good on that one. Easy to do though, right? I was mentioning before, if you don't get that pit entrance practiced up a whole bunch, really easy to just kind of get unsighted through here, and nothing he could do.
Yep, nothing. He was trying to slow down and just didn't slow down enough to make the corner. And that meatball flag is that's gonna hurt him a little bit. Luckily, there's a couple of quick repairs out there, so these guys can just get him some new tires, a full tank of gas, and away he can go. And he shouldn't have to stop between now and the end. Especially the way that, like, if you're looking at Jake Ham and Dylan Bose right now, they've got 104 lapped.
Really
on those
nice
tires
job on that
and on the fuel.
Very nice car.
Oh yeah, I like the metallic on that, the way it shines. So
yep, good stuff.
Yeah, Zoot Lord Racing, by the way, that's the Zoot Lord Racing machine. Derek Falk, who is the captain of that race team, and Kevin Irwin gets a black flag as well. Have to assume speeding.
Serve that here. I'd imagine that's just going to be a drive-through for him here. Not having the best night out there, but learning stuff. I would imagine this is would have been a real learning experience for me out there too. It's just tried to do these ovals a couple times, and I just couldn't quite wrap my head around how I would get through 40 minutes of this or 20 or 30 minutes of this. So yeah, pretty interesting, and it definitely difficult out there tonight for sure. I can tell.
Well, imagine doing 500 laps of this.
Oh. Yeah, you'd be sweating. I can't even imagine it, honestly. Like, I've done some oval racing, and I do a lot of road racing, and I'm always surprised at just how fatigued I am after the oval race, even more. Maybe just because it's so repetitive and you're so locked into that same turning all the time that you just a few times now I've gotten out and I'm just sweating, and I'm like, I don't get this. It just shouldn't be this physical, but it really is. It's very intense. There's a lot of strategy, a lot more than you'd think out there for sure. As a road racer going into ovals, it's a really, really finite skill. The oval racing is. It's very different from road. I'm going to say one is harder than the other, but people who don't give oval its credit just don't understand it, I don't think. Because, man, there's I don't quite get how the tip of the spear does what it does in oval racing. I don't quite understand it.
I look at myself last night running super late models around Knoxville for 50 laps, and after that I was sweating, and then and that's dirt, and you're constantly moving that steering wheel. You're going, you're turning left to get the corner, get into the corner, and then you immediately get it to the right just so you can get through the corner. And it's just one of those things that oval racing, it takes a very particular set of skills to be very successful at. Now, Dylan Vos has said he is coming into the pit lane this time, and there he goes into the pits after 113 laps on those tires. And guess who's staying out there?
I don't know how he's doing it. He must be lifting. He's got to be lifting. I mean, he's not under a ton of pressure up there, right? So he should probably be able to lift a little and coast a little. I don't know. Do we have a mandatory pit? Is he going to be able to make another, 50-some laps here or what? He might.
No, I don't. He cannot make 50 laps.
No,
those tires are gonna go first.
Explode. And he's back in again, Kevin Irwin. What is going on with the constant black flags here? I wonder if maybe on exit he just continues to make a mistake leaving the pit lane here. Easy to do if you don't know exactly where the exit is. I know on a couple oval tracks that I have done, I just simply didn't know where to go, and I would come out and just make a fool of myself, kind of. Not that that's what Kevin's doing here, but I sure would have. But yeah, the cheese car just having a bit of a rough night here. J-Cam is in.
Very rough night. And there you go. J-Cam is in on lap 117 here of the 165 scheduled here. So Dylan Vos will get his lap back. Question is, does Brad Cathcart, Matt Lass, and all the other cars that are also a lap down, can they find a way to get back on the lead lap? So J-Cam going to get all new tires. And actually what really helps him here is the fact that he doesn't have as much fuel that he has to fill up, so he will be very, very thankful for that. And he gets out, and Dylan Vos, he's still a lap. Actually, no, Dylan Vos and Brad Cathcart then get a lap back. That's only 3 cars now who are on the lead lap at this point, and it wouldn't surprise me by the time we get through the end of this one if J-Cam actually just laps the entire field, because of his very strong pace. You can see right now Brad Cathcart, he's just navigating lap traffic. He doesn't have anybody behind him that he has to worry about at this moment in time. And you can just see right now, where is our second place runner, Dylan Vos, going through 3 and 4 now, and J-Cam's going through 1 and 2.
He might make it happen. Yeah, there's enough time to make it happen here, depending on the pace of Dylan Vos and those tires and so on. And of course some lap traffic here could very well throw an anvil at someone here pretty quickly as well, although they're doing a really good job staying out of the way. Very impressive so far, but yeah, I think it's doable. I think he can catch him.
It's going to be close, as we're looking at
something the 19 wants.
Time.
I promise it's not what he wants.
That would be a very disappointing day, and it would make it for a very post-race interview with J-Cam at the end of this one. Right now, J-Cam, his last lap time was a 15.16. Dylan Vos was a 15.02. So Dylan Vos is just a little bit quicker here, as now Brad Cathcart again goes down a lap. He's officially 1 lap down here again to J-Cam, as J-Cam was able to get out of the pits very close behind the resident Aussie in that 905 machine. Matt Lass is into the pits again. So, and that tells me these guys did not practice that tire saving strategy when these guys are coming down pit lane as much as they are. And that's when you're going to Bristol, that is a key factor, is to save them tires and make sure you don't burn them up, get them worn down, make it an undrivable race car. So J-Cam, though, he's about halfway to Dylan Vos right now. Almost halfway. You can see J-Cam doesn't run a faster lap time than Dylan Bose, but Dylan Bose is starting to lose some time here. Lost about a 10th that last lap. So you can just see there's the lap time
seeing
comparison.
a little bit of lap traffic rear its head there too in front of the 85. Once he cleared Cathcart there, he was able to get some free air and start putting a little bit better laps, and got stifled again here, I believe, by the car behind him there. I didn't catch the number on that one, unfortunately, but I think that's kind of playing
Grider
into it as well. Grider, yeah. So it's going back and forth a little. Obviously, they're both having to deal with lap traffic, and it's going to be really who can kind of clear that traffic and everything. But I think Dylan Vos has the pace out there to not get lapped again. I know getting beat is one thing, getting lapped is another. That's not something you want. So I know he's probably out there going, no, I don't want this to happen. I'm going to step on it a little bit here for sure. And it does look like he's going to be able to hold her together here, depending on that lap traffic and kind of how they can work it out.
Well, that time J-Cam did run faster than Dylan Vos by just a couple of hundredths of a second. And now Dylan Vos, he is starting to lose some time here. He lost about 2/10 now since J-Cam has come out of the pits, and is starting to, those tires are really probably starting to wear a little bit more, as of course J-Cam did go a couple laps longer than Dylan Vos before J-Cam made his pit stop. And those pit stops, it is mandatory in XSLR to make a pit stop, but on a racetrack this small and this many laps, of course, you were going to have to make a pit stop anyway. And Andy Kosick, an impressive fourth place run right now, even though he is a lap down. The fact that he is running in fourth, last week, of course, was running fourth and or was running within the top 5, and but that race ended up just being a more of a bizarre, crazy race at the end, as we're seeing guys starting to really fuel save and starting to back up corners. We saw J-Cam going from the back to the front, back to the back to the front. So he was the true definition of comers and goers.
Yeah, that was an interesting race last time too. I was kind of out there just trying to keep myself clean and just stay together, and I can drive a car. I can drive pretty quickly. I just didn't really know when to jump, what to do, when should I save my fuel, when should I take my tires. I just sort of tried to take cues off everybody else. Never going to get a good result that way. It's very lucky if you do. You just go out and kind of step on it. But I had a lot of fun, honestly, in these ARCA cars, and Las Vegas being one of my favorite ovals, although I haven't tried all of them quite yet. Really did like that a lot, but it was a bit of a crazy race there. It seems like I wasn't the only one confused though, so I'm not totally bummed out about it.
Well,
oh, that was a close one with Charles Bochelle there. Looks like he's just going to take that low line, get out of J-Cam's way. I don't think that certainly wasn't intentional there, but very, very close to Charles Bochelle's bumper there for the 85.
We are under 15 laps. No, under 25 laps to go. My apologies, bad math skills there.
Better than mine.
So we, right now it's just the J-Cam show out there, putting on a Kyle Larson-esque type performance here in XSLR to make it back-to-back weeks with a win. That's exactly what you want to see. Of course, Harrison Chandler, who has not been here the last couple of weeks, won week 1 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and this week, in the last 2 weeks, has not made an appearance. So obviously J-Cam is our points leader, which we should be getting points soon, as sometimes somebody just doesn't get their job done and doesn't send us the point standings, and then we're sitting here going, oh man, what are the points? It's probably rightfully good to assume that J-Cam is the points leader. Dylan Bose is probably close to second, or is in that second position. And of course, after we're done with the Oval Series here, which will conclude in 2 weeks' time, we will move on to the Dirt Oval with the big block modified cars for 2 weeks before we take our first break week. We have pretty much 6 straight weeks of oval racing going on here on XSLR on Slow Motion Broadcasting. And if you're enjoying the content so far, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 5,000 subscribers. We're already over that 1K, so the road to 5,000 isn't as steep as we would like to think it is. And of course, hit that notification bell. We got plenty of series going live all week long. So if you love iRacing like as much as we do, well, we got plenty of content. We got your weekend warriors, of course, in the Formula V, the Formula V, the Spec Ford. Then, of course, we got a couple of upcoming series, which we're, getting ready to announce here shortly. And, of course, XSLR on Sundays, which features not only oval racing on both asphalt and dirt. Then we'll head into some road. Of course, this year, the introduction of the sports car and open wheel series. So instead of 4 like we've done for the past few seasons, it's gonna be 5 total series here at XSLR. There's Tyler Brown, who is having a really strong race down in 7th, just trying to move up the leaderboard as much as he can, as he does know probably at this point in time that he is definitely out of contention. He had a pit road penalty that took him out of this one, so he's just at this point just logging laps and just trying to get as far as he can. This is basically an endurance race, Josh. You get an issue and then you're just running just to try and move yourself up the leaderboard as far as you can.
Yeah, I'd say so for sure. You can get out there and just, that's what I would be doing, honestly, is just get out there and try to learn and try to move up the field as much as I can, stay off everybody, and just kind of try to learn what's going on out there. And it looks like that's what's happening. Oh, a bunch of drivers here kind of doing the same thing. As we got pretty close to the cheese car there. Although, I think that's probably the name of the game out there, isn't it? Is getting close to people. And especially the cheese car, up in the wall a few times there. It's nice and clean. She's back out racing now, so that is a good thing, and that's what you want to do. You want to just get out there, make sure you finish the race, learn what you can from it, and yeah, like you're saying, try to make your way up that field if you can. You never know what's going to happen out there before the end of the race. We still have a few laps left. You're brushing the wall there again. A bunch of clean race cars, though. Honestly, I was expecting Bristol to be a little bit crazier than this. It's so tight. It's so technical. I was expecting some incidents, but really, really clean from everyone.
So clean so far as J-Cam now approaching 8 laps now to go here at Bristol Motor Speedway for J-Cam, and he is starting to really gain on Dylan Vos here. And you got to wonder, is he going to try and lap the entire field at this point?
I think he's trying. I think he's going for it. He's close. He's getting there. I think he's probably pretty darn close to it so far. He's definitely put on a clinic today in the 85, that's for sure. Nobody could even touch him here. He's been able to keep up a consistent lap pace ahead of everyone else pretty much the entire race here. So going to get by Kevin Irwin here again. In the wee hours of the race here, only 5 laps left. Just an absolute clinic from J-Cam again.
J-Cam going back to back here at XSLR and wins and really getting his season started off right. Of course, our wonderful esteemed league admin Adam Thomsen has not been here for the opening 3 rounds of this season. Yeah, we need him back, of course. Of course, he's supposedly in a different country, and I'm not sure why. He's been out of the country for quite a while.
He's off serving his country there somewhere, I believe. Yeah, in an undisclosed location of some kind. So yeah, we wish him the best, and we definitely want him back. Want him back here as soon as we can get him back, man. We miss him.
Well, here we go as we're approaching 2 laps to go. Can J-Cam complete the entire run here? He gets the Dylan Vos. Almost thought about giving him the bumper there.
He wants it.
Says, hey, I'm the white flag one more time around. Dylan Vos goes down bottom. Does J-Cam, can he get it done? This is the most exciting thing we're going to see here tonight. He's going to drive by him. Dylan Vos goes back up top, hits the wall, and J-Cam, he completes the entire run. J-Cam wins here and laps the entire field. Oh, man.
The whole field on the last lap, too, just made it. So all of the pontificating about whether or not he was going to be able to do it all we know now, he lapped the entire field, did it on the last lap, about 300 feet before the line. Pretty impressive stuff from the 85 here tonight. Oh, if I was 19, I would be shaking my head. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
J-Cam, take a bow, do some burnouts, burn down the house, and take the roof off this place, because you definitely deserve that. That was a great drive, and you are a back-to-back winner of Season 10 and getting his season off right. We get a nice little drone kind of view of the 85 and the 19. What are you doing up there, Dylan? You know, put yourself to shame, sir. How dare you sit there acting like you're all right?
Hey, Cathcart as well there, just silently killing it tonight, getting a third place. So really good showing from the 905 tonight. You know, just sort of slipped in there. Didn't even really mention him too much. Was sometimes exactly what you want out there in a situation like this. So, you know, we're talking about being lap traffic. Well, you know, he kept very consistent, stayed off everybody, and great finish for Brad Cathcart tonight in the 905.
Yeah, Brad Cathcart, the resident Aussie, who we'll get a chance to talk to tonight. Of course, we talked to him a couple of times last season for finishing on the podium at Phillip Island and Mathers in the GT3 series. So we're just waiting on our interviewees to get in the booth, and we'll start our interviews in just a moment. And yeah, no, a great race. And yes, we do plan on asking Dylan about him getting lapped by J-Cam and how he feels about it, and if he's going to need some therapy after that. So
well, I think he's found his way to the podium here. So this is not something we see often. Pretty amazing that we get you get the fans there looking like zombies wearing the same shirts. But hey, pretty amazing stuff there. You made it right up to the Bass Pro Shops podium. I'm not sure I've ever seen this before.
No, he makes it up there to the Victory Lane podium. Of course, the trophy that they get at Bristol is a sword. So yeah,
there we go, some donuts.
Now he's burning it down. Well, we'll go ahead, we'll start our interviews here. We're gonna bring in our race winner of J-Cam here. J-Cam, our race winner, a dominating performance, a Kyle Larson-esque performance around Bristol Motor Speedway. Jake, first off, talk about that first stint. You went very long.
Yeah, that's the only way to run this track. You know, I started out too hard, you know, at the beginning. I kind of pushed a little bit, and then kind of fell back there and let everybody, you know, kind of pass me. You know, a couple people go by and just get my groove. And this is definitely one of those tracks where you have to use different parts of the tire. I think I've talked about this in the past, but you have to use different parts of the tire throughout the run. So you have to have different lines throughout the different paces of your stint. And if you can take this to the end, that's how you can push it. And I was pushing so hard to lap everybody, and I accomplished my goal. So it was good.
Well, you did it. You get back-to-back wins. Obviously, the championship leader, going for your second XSLR title in back-to-back seasons. And then talk about, you lapped the entire field. You lapped Dylan Bose 300 feet from the checkered flag.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to me. You know, I know Dylan kind of hung on there for quite a while. You know, I got up there from him on the first stint a little bit there towards the end, and he went in a couple laps before me. So I'm like, oh, we're gonna run it pretty good. And so he must have just been pushing super hard and used up quite a bit of his tires, because there at the end fell off significantly. And I liked his battle there at the end. Their last couple laps, he kind of raced me pretty tough, but it was all clean and fun. And at the end of the day, it was super fun. This is my second time ever lapping the entire field, so it's fun when it happens, but it's a bummer in a sense that I just wish everybody was able to hang on longer and a little bit closer racing there. But at the end of the day, it worked out in my favor.
Quite did. And anybody you would like to thank for your second victory of season 10?
Yeah, absolutely. Slow motion broadcasting, you know, always love to go back, listen, watch. It's always fun to do. And then obviously XSLR for the league, the host, And then, again, as a huge reminder, Adam Thomsen hasn't been here for any of these races, and it's kind of ironic that we're running, all green flag runs here. So that's just a note to be made. And then, obviously, friends and family for stopping by, hanging out, watching, and then everybody out there tonight for clean running. Very, very impressive to run a clean race at Bristol, and everybody be super proud of that. Everybody did great.
Well, congratulations, Jake, and of course the shot at Adam, always welcomed here in the broadcast booth. Congratulations. We will see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
J-Cam, our winner here tonight. Let's bring in Dylan Vos here, second place runner. Dylan Vos, second place here at XSLR around Bristol, and you were leading very early on in this race. Did that come back to bite you at the end there?
No, not really, actually. I just kind of ran into a number. The fact that Tyler got around me as early as he did, which was, I had a feeling he would be trying to push as he started back to the back, I thought. And then, no, Jake just did his classic thing. If he just went to the back, but he wasn't back there that long, I thought. Maybe was back there for maybe 4 or 5 laps, and then all of a sudden, here he comes, lap 85, lap 90, and then he just passed me. I raced him pretty hard, but then just couldn't do anything for him. I think it was on lap 90 lap old tires at that point. It was like, okay, I'll just run my line and pray for caution, because I think had we got a caution, it would have been a damn good race there at the end, but we didn't. But if anything, that's such a good thing for these guys is 165 laps green to checker is pretty good at Bristol. I don't care what the car count is.
yes, it is. Also, Jake Kim, he ended up lapping you 300 feet for the checkered flag. Are you going to need some therapy after this?
Well, it's I rev my engine at him because I hate getting lapped no matter what we're doing, and especially there. It's just all that comes down to is getting through traffic a little bit better 1 or 2 more times. There were 2 or 3 times in that entire race where I got hung up and I just had to sit and wait. That's all that was. It was literally a second here, a second there type deal. So I'm not that upset about it, but I still don't like it happening.
Well, good run tonight. Anybody you want to thank before we bring in Brad?
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to thank the XSLR guys, Slow Motion Broadcasting, for making an awesome race, or making an awesome broadcast, rather. My friends and family, and just everybody that helps support this league and makes it something that we can come out here and show off on a Sunday night here. Not very many leagues can go flag to flag to Bristol. So,
well, congratulations on your second place run, and we will see you next week.
Yes, for sure, guys. Thank you guys very much.
Dylan Vos, our second place finisher. Our final interviewee will be Brad Cathcart. Aussie, oi, oi, oi. Congratulations, Brad, on a third place run. Very quiet run, but you got there at the end.
Yeah, I did. How good are these oval things?
Yeah, you figured it out. You finally figured out ovals here.
But I did something, but I wasn't sure what I was doing.
Isn't that the Aussie way?
Silently in the background. Yeah, the folks up front, they just had so much pace. I just said I can't do that, so I just tried to save the tires and see what happened.
Well, it's always good when we get to talk to you. Of course, just talk about your race from your perspective. Besides, just running a nice, quiet race.
It was just tire saving. That's all I was doing. I sort of went backwards at the start, and I was comfortable with that. And then everyone started coming back to me, so I thought, well, that must be a strategy that works. It had absolutely nothing for Jake, though. His pace was amazing.
Well, you get the job done. Anybody you want to thank for the podium finish here tonight?
My thanks got to go to my old mate, Jeff Jacobson. I asked him, how do you run these oval things on the short tracks? And he said, turn left and don't spin.
That's great advice. That's great advice.
I kept turning left and I didn't spin, and
Nice.
Podium. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks to all the other blokes too. It was very respectful. 3 races in a row with no yellow. That's just amazing.
Yes, yes, it is. Well, congratulations, Brad. You are on the podium. We'll see you next week.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Well, that ends that one. Let's go ahead and just run through the final results one more time. Of course, J-Cam, our race winner with Dylan Vos second. Andy Cossack. Oh, excuse me. That was qualifying results. Brad Cathcart third. Andy Cossack in fourth. Derek Volk in fifth. Chad Gross in sixth. Tyler Brown in seventh. Jason Crider eighth. Matt Lass in ninth. Joshua Sushi in 10th. Thomas Bushell, aka Slow Trickle, in 11th, and a rough night for Kevin Irwin, who finishes in 12th. Let's look at the lineups here. Josh, before we move to our next thing, any final thoughts before we move on here?
Yeah, I think that was a great race. Really awesome to see everybody out there keeping it clean. Like I said, I was expecting some cautions and stuff tonight. I don't even think we got one through the whole thing there. So really great showing from everybody tonight. Definitely masterclass from J-Cam, and I'm sure everybody learned a bunch. I know I did from you as well as watching the drivers out there tonight. So really looking forward to being able to get behind the wheel of a couple of these, and I will be back producing again. I believe it's round 6, so I'll see you guys in the booth then, and until then, I'll see you on the track.
All right. Well, upcoming shows here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. We have the American Muscle Series this upcoming Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Of course, the track is always a mystery this season. So if you would like to see a bunch of drivers not know which track we're running on, and of course, Matt Malone trying to not wreck his race car, this is the series to watch on Slow Motion Broadcasting. And then on Tuesday at 9:45, the SRG F4 group, the Sim Racers Group F4 at Monza this week. And then a new series here to Slow Motion Broadcasting, the XMS Racing Ferrari Road and Oval Challenge at Sebring. That's Wednesday at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then Wednesday, after that race is all said and done, the Sim Racers Group is back once again in the F3 car around Mexico, which was just released on this new patch of iRacing. Then we head towards the weekend. On Sundays right now, we have the Weekend Warriors in the Formula Ford 1600. And then, okay, of course, there is the Formula V's on Saturdays in the afternoon. So, and where are they at, Josh, this week?
Yeah,
are they
that one's
Sebring as well?
I believe they're at Sebring as well. Yeah, and unfortunately, we just don't have it on the overlay yet. We're just waiting for a little bit of data to come in there, but they are on Saturdays. We have quite the big lineup on the weekends there. Saturday, Sunday, Weekend Warrior races, and then of course we're back with XSLR, and then we start the whole week again here. So pretty awesome stuff coming up here soon there for sure, Adam. I'll let you wrap her up.
Next week XSLR heads to Talladega Super Speedway for some high-speed, high-flying action around Dega. This is Talladega. That's what they say down there. Well, that tonight will do it for us here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to stay in the know with what's happening around the Slow Motion Broadcast and all the leagues that we are covering. And of course, thank you to all of you who already have subscribed. Well, my name is Adam Thomsen for Josh Wilkie and everyone here at Slow Motion Broadcasting and XSLR. We will say good night and we will see you next week from Talladega.